Welcome to Worth Coin. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine holding something so small, so ordinary, that you wouldn't even hesitate before spending it on a gum or a soda. Yet hidden within that tiny piece of metal could be a life-changing fortune waiting to be discovered. Today we are diving into one of the most mysterious and talked about modern Lincoln cents ever rumored in collector circles, the 1991 P1 cent USA coin. A coin that has been surrounded by viral claims, mystery stories, and staggering valuation rumors reaching as high as $91 million in speculative discussions among online collectors and sensational reports. Now, before you dismiss this as just another penny, stick with me because the deeper we go into its background, minting anomalies, and rare error possibilities, the more shocking this story becomes, and I promise you, by the end you'll never look at a simple penny the same way again. And also stay tuned because later in this series we will uncover other coins like a mysterious 1966 piece and another legendary cent that collectors whisper about. But those stories hold secrets even more unbelievable than this one. Now, the reason the 1991 P. Lincoln cent grabs so much attention is not because it was officially released as a unique commemorative or special strike, but because of the strange rumors, alleged mint errors, and hypothetical high-grade anomalies that collectors have debated for years, with some claiming that certain versions in perfect condition, possibly struck on wrong planchets or preserved in extraordinary mint state condition, could reach astronomical figures in speculative markets. While most 1991 Philadelphia Lincoln cents are extremely common and were produced in the hundreds of millions, the fascination begins when collectors talk about ultra-rare minting mistakes, double strikes, off-metal errors, misaligned dies, or experimental strikes that may have slipped through quality control during production at the Philadelphia Mint. Imagine a scenario where a penny intended for mass circulation somehow gets struck under unusual pressure conditions, creating a perfectly preserved coin with microscopic details so sharp that under magnification it appears almost proof-like despite being a circulation strike. That is where the legend of high-value pennies begins to grow. In the early 1990s, the U.S. Mint was producing coins at a massive scale, and during such high-speed production runs, even the smallest deviation in die alignment, metal composition, or striking pressure could theoretically produce a rarity. And it is exactly these what-if scenarios that fuel the mythos behind coins like the 1991 P-cent. Collectors often examine these pennies under high magnification searching for anomalies, such as slight doubling in the lettering, unusual color toning that suggests off-metal composition, or weak strikes that indicate die fatigue. And while most examples are normal, the hunt itself has created a kind of digital folklore where certain coins are elevated to almost mythical status. What makes this even more interesting is the psychology of coin collecting itself, because when millions of identical coins exist, the human mind naturally starts searching for uniqueness, and even the slightest imperfection becomes a treasure map pointing toward rarity. Over time, stories have circulated online claiming that ultra-perfect specimens or rare mint errors of the 1991 P-cent have been linked to astonishing valuations, sometimes exaggerated in viral content, reaching figures like $91 million in sensationalized discussions, not as verified auction results, but as a reflection of how extreme rarity combined with imagination can inflate perceived value to unbelievable levels. Now, whether or not such a coin has truly ever sold for anything close to that amount, the important truth is that coin collectors do pay enormous premiums for certified mint errors and flawless high-grade specimens, especially when graded by top services like MS67, MS68, or higher, where population reports show extremely limited surviving examples. The excitement around this penny also comes from the idea that it could still be out there in circulation, sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or even mixed in pocket change, completely unnoticed because at first glance it looks identical to any other Lincoln cent minted in the early 1990s. This sense of hidden potential is what drives millions of people to check their coins carefully, hoping that one small discovery could rewrite their financial future overnight. And while most experts agree that standard 1991p pennies are only worth face value unless they show dramatic mint errors or perfect grading conditions, the legends surrounding them continue to grow in online communities, fueled by rare error discoveries and the ever-present hope of finding something extraordinary in the ordinary. Now here is where things get even more exciting, because while this coin alone already sparks massive curiosity, what comes next in this series takes the mystery to an entirely different level, with coins rumored to have even stranger production quirks and even more dramatic collector demand. And I can tell you right now, the next coin we are going to uncover will challenge everything you think you know about modern pennies. So make sure you stay locked in and don't skip ahead, because the story is only getting started, and most people would never believe what comes next sitting unnoticed in everyday circulation, waiting for someone just like you to recognize it. Next, 1966 P1 cent USA coin. Most people would spend this coin every day without realizing it could buy a mansion. And what makes it even more shocking is that it comes from an era when millions of pennies were struck with almost identical designs, making the truly rare ones nearly impossible to spot at a glance. Today we're diving into the mysterious 1966 P1 cent USA coin, a penny that has been surrounded by collector debates, error theories, and sensational valuation claims, reaching as high as $80 million in viral discussions across the numismatic world. Now, before you assume this is just another ordinary copper coin from the 1960s, stick with me, because the deeper we go into its minting background, hidden error possibilities, and extreme rarity scenarios, the more unbelievable this story becomes. And by the end, you'll understand why collectors never stop searching through old penny jars. And don't go anywhere, because after this, we still have more shocking coins to uncover, including a mysterious piece that's been rumored to reach even higher levels of demand. But we'll get to that soon enough. The 1966 Lincoln cent was produced during a very interesting transitional era in U.S. coinage history, when the United States Mint was still adjusting to the massive changes brought by rising production demands and evolving metal supply strategies. And although it is officially a very common circulation coin, it becomes fascinating when we start exploring the world of mint errors, experimental strikes, and rare high-grade survivors. In 1966, the Philadelphia Mint was the primary producer of pennies, and billions of coins were struck using high-speed presses designed for efficiency rather than perfection, meaning that small anomalies could and did occur, even if they were not intended. Most 1966 p cents are composed of the standard bronze alloy used at the time, but collectors are particularly interested in hypothetical error variations such as off-center strikes, double die obverse, clipped planchets, and even rare cases of improper metal mixing that could theoretically produce unusual weight or color variations. Imagine a coin that was accidentally struck with slightly misaligned dies, causing the inscriptions like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" to appear doubled under magnification, or a penny that missed its full strike pressure, resulting in a weak but oddly sharp design that stands out when compared side by side with normal examples. That is where collector excitement begins. Now, while most 1966 pennies are extremely common and worth only face value in circulation condition, the true fascination comes from the highest graded specimens and verified mint errors that occasionally surface through coin roll hunting, estate finds, or long-forgotten collections stored away for decades. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have occasionally certified unusual 1966 cents with striking anomalies, and whenever such coins appear in auctions, they immediately attract attention from error specialists who understand that rarity is not always about the date, but about what happened during the fraction of a second when that coin was being struck. Over time, online stories and viral videos have amplified the mystique of certain 1966 pennies, sometimes attaching enormous speculative values like $80 million in exaggerated claims, which are not verified auction prices, but rather reflections of how extreme rarity combined with imagination can turn an ordinary penny into a legendary object in the public eye. The reality is that a true ultra-rare 1966 cent would need to exhibit multiple extreme conditions at once, such as a dramatic mint error combined with perfect preservation or an unknown experimental planchet, to even approach significant collector value. But that does not stop enthusiasts from searching, because history has repeatedly shown that extraordinary mint mistakes do escape into circulation. One of the biggest reasons coins like this remain so captivating is the thrill of possibility, because unlike gold bars locked in vaults or diamonds tracked by serial records, coins like the 1966 cent once entered everyday circulation, meaning they could still be hiding in jars, drawers, or even loose change forgotten for decades. That idea alone drives collectors to examine every penny carefully, hoping to find a unique strike anomaly or an overlooked error that others missed. And even though most searches end with common coins, the rare discovery is what keeps the dream alive. Another fascinating aspect is how condition plays a massive role in value perception, because a 1966 cent that appears perfectly preserved with full luster, sharp details, and minimal contact marks can stand out dramatically compared to typical worn examples. And in the world of numismatics, condition sometimes transforms a common coin into a highly desirable collectible. So while the majority of these pennies remain simple pieces of everyday currency, the hidden layer of error possibilities and grading extremes ensures that they will always remain a subject of fascination. And just when you think this story has reached its peak, it hasn't, because the next coin in this journey is even more mysterious, with rumors of international valuation comparisons, even more extreme scarcity claims, and a story that pushes the limits of belief in the coin collecting world. So stay with me, because what comes next will make even this 1966 penny feel like just the beginning of something far bigger and far more unbelievable.